What is up, everyone? You should be able to see our pretty faces.
Yeah, let me just pull up the chat real quick so I can follow along with whatever the people have to say to us. Let us know how our audio sounds. It should be good, but if anyone's got any comments, let us know. Otherwise, yeah, we're back for episode 2 of the Lon Lon Ranch Podcast. I think our last time went really well, so I'm excited to see what's in store for us this time.
Yeah, definitely had a good time last time. We don't have as many guests this time. We took some time to think about it, and we're cutting it down a little bit so that we have more time to talk with our guests as opposed to last time. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically today, it's going to be split into 3 sections. We're going to have a section with Stang0, which is going to be up in just a couple minutes here, where we talk about Project M doubles and really how doubles, basically just all things about doubles in PM and P+. And then we're going to have a short break, come back with Che. For those of you who don't know, he's one of the people who runs Project M Nexus, and he's a good content creator for the scene. He also helps with Illinois Smash, and so we're going to talk a bit about content creation with him. And then our last section is just going to be me and Robert talking about a few topics in the about general PM stuff, how quarantine's treated the scene and how we're going to, get back to LAN and how that's going to affect everyone. So should be an interesting stuff to talk about today.
Yep. I think, with that being said, I think we can bring in our first guest now, Mr. Stang0.
Okay.
As soon as we get him here on the voice call.
Yeah. Okay, great. So yeah, I mean, with Stang0, for those of you who don't know, I'll do a little introduction. Obviously, he'll introduce himself, but he's one of the top East Coast players, one of the top players in the world for P+, I'd say right now. And he is here to really talk to us about doubles. Do we have him on right now?
He is here, yeah.
Okay, great. You can say hi to the stream, Stang0, do a little introduction for yourself for the people who may not know who you are.
Hey, so what's going on, everyone? as they've said before, my name is Stang0. I'm one of the East Coast players for P Plus right now. I play a lot of doubles on the East Coast with pretty much like all the top players over there. Malachi, DBD, Envy, um, Boyko, etc. So today I'm just going to be talking about like a little bit of doubles, just talking about what I think of it in particular about this game, why it's really interesting. I think it has a lot of depth, and just some cool stuff about it in general. So it'll be a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there
And I think
anything?
this should be interesting.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like it should be an interesting conversation for me and Robert here since we both team with each other in the Lon Lon Ranch team. So it should be quite fun to kind of discuss it and kind of get an idea of how you view doubles and how we can kind of apply that to our own team stuff as well.
Maybe we
Yep.
can walk out of this with a few tips and tricks in our bag.
Yep.
Yeah,
Is there anything
but
in particular related to doubles you want to start us off with, Stango?
I mean, I guess I would just generally say right now, just like the big differences of doubles to like other Smash games, like let's say for Melee, which is pretty much the more premier Smash game right now
Mm-hmm.
during COVID, just because of like rollback net play and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And it does actually have a pretty decent double scene because of that netcode. Biggest
yeah.
difference of Melee doubles to PM is definitely character variety and strategies between them, and the differences of like stage selection. I think like
Mhm.
with Melee, there's only like really three stages people like playing doubles on, for the most part, four even. No one
Yeah,
really
yeah,
likes Yoshi's story because it's just so small. It's just not good for doubles at all. But you're kind of left to what you can work with in Melee, just because you don't have that many stages. Everyone else really likes Stadium, Battlefield, FD, and Dreamland. They're all pretty decent stages, but the game's been out for so long. There's just kind of been so much play on it that it's kind of stale. Versus with PM, there's such a different stage variety with it. You have Green Hill Zone, you have WarioWare, um, Delfino's Island, or Island. I don't even know what it's called. Delfino's. Um, but another thing that has really changed like doubles for me in this game, especially, is custom stages. The East Coast, it may not be as secretly known. Like we play like on a custom build league we've made for ourselves called Dubs Build. That's all it is.
Oh.
And it
yeah.
has like a lot of changes that we also play on singles just because they're so good.
Hmm.
Used to be Frozen Smashville. Now it is still moving Smashville, but the platform does not extend off stage, which is just 100% what should be the tournament standard, even in
Mm.
singles, because it's just like that
Hmm.
platform off stage is so unbalanced. It's ridiculous.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
I've definitely gotten a fair share of clips because that platform is just so jank.
Yeah. When Ganon
yeah,
attack throws you and the platform's moving and he gets a regrab off it or
Nah, you
some
you just get chain
dumb.
grab, dude. That plat lets
Yeah.
Ganon just literally chain grab half the characters to death, like he used to.
yep. Yeah, the platform on there. We also just have like a bunch of other stages, like a really cool looking Pokemon Stadium that is like a long I'm tongue twisted. Frozen Smashville. Um,
Hmm.
it's like a really long PS2 with a just center platform that kind of covers all of it, and it's on Shadow Moses Island, so it's like a really good
Cool.
aesthetic. There's like a lot of different stages, and like I said in the chat, um, at some point, because we are kind of finished with Dub's build, like in a way, it may be a change like once again down the line, but uh it'll probably get a public release that people can play on, because at some point, like, I do really want like uh the Frozen Smashville to like be the tournament standard, because it's just so much better of a stage.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like Smashville at its core, just because it's played so much, it's like kind of like a staple, but I feel like it's just really not a neutral stage with that platform. so it's weird.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean that sounds really interesting, and I see some people are saying that soon it may be that this Dubs build that you're talking about may be out for the public or something like that. Um, but I think it sounds very interesting, especially the changes to Smashville that you're talking about, and how that relates to doubles in particular. And I'm kind of wondering, like, you said you play it on singles too, but do you think uh, in doubles in particular that the way Smashville is currently with the moving platform makes it even more unbalanced than even in singles, or do you think it's just both doubles and singles?
Yeah, I think
It's
it's
just
just
kind of
pretty. I think it's pretty whack in general. Like, pretty much any time that invincibility like comes into question, like that platform being off stage just completely neuters like any real pressure that you can have with that 2 seconds of invincibility. In doubles
mm,
as well, it can just save people randomly that like should die. You know, if you kind of hit someone like
mhm.
all the way across the stage and then you head over to the other side for a 2v1 that you kind of you know, talk about like, oh, I fared this guy across the stage. He's super dead. Like, he doesn't have a double jump. I know he can't grab
Yeah.
ledge. But then Smashville's just randomly just over there. And I was talking to Malachi about this. Like, he was kind of saying, like, I don't know how people don't understand that, like, when I say that Smashville is random, even though it's a set pattern, you can't control how the flow of the game is going. So
hmm
effectively, the random factor of it is that you can't tell if it's going to be, oh, I hit on this stage where the platform's nowhere near, or I hit on that side. Just so happenstance that's how the game ended up being. I can't control if I'm comboing my opponent this way if he wants to DI that way.
Yeah, it's kind of the same as
Yeah.
like Yoshi's story in Melee, except Randall's really tiny and hardly ever comes into play, whereas the
Right.
platform is like such a big factor in Smashville.
And Randall's so much closer to the ledge because he's so tiny
Yeah.
as well. Versus like the Smashville platform, it's literally a battlefield sized platform, even longer.
Yeah, the
So it's
platform's
hard to
huge.
cover. It's hard to cover the entire platform, especially that far off stage.
Yeah. So I guess the main issue that you're bringing up is kind of the it goes off stage. Like for example, on Green Hill Zone, there's also like the platform moving, but obviously like that doesn't extend off stage. Like, what are your
Yeah,
thoughts on Green Hill
that
Zone then?
that platform can be a little degenerate for some characters that have a better vertical transition than others, but it's honestly not that bad just because that platform kind of hovers in the center of the stage for the most part. So it's
Yeah.
like most people can kind of just play a grounded style against it and do decent. However, for some matchups, that's definitely like a super unplayable stage. Like I think Ness really struggles against Fox on that stage because of that platform. Mainly
hmm
just because Ness has just no vertical challenge against a back air Fox. He has to kind of like bait and read, which like Fox just kind of
hmm
controls that mix up. So it's like if he loses, it's all really predicated on like how well he wants to play that scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of interesting concepts that we brought up with the Frozen Smashville, and I'm interested to see more communities be open to trying out different rule sets like that or different stage lists. Just since, it's always something worth trying. Like if we find something that we think is better for the game, uh, there's no point of avoiding it, you know? That's how I view it. At least give it a test period is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the PM is such in a unique state where it's like it's not as established as like the other Smash games, where it has a pretty decent scene, and it also doesn't have like a lot of like ingrained like people who won't change. Like you can never suggest a different stage list to melee players; they will literally not hear it, even though Yoshi
Mhm.
Story and FD are like complete garbage for like many reasons because of Randall,
Mhm.
because of Shy Guys, Dreamland Wind. Another thing in
Yeah.
PM, need to get rid of the wind.
I thought that they
Yeah.
were going to get rid of the wind, and then they never did.
It's just I think too many people have pull in like things that just no one should have any disagreement with.
I,
Um,
I
Mhm.
really don't know
but it's
why the wind is still there. Like really, the only positive thing that it brings to the stage at all is that you can go to the edge of the stage when Randall's blowing and spam taunts, and it sounds funny.
Yeah.
But that's it. Other than that, like it's just kind of hurting the stage.
Yeah. But I think in a general, like with changing stages, like all I'm saying is if we could have played on Dracula's castle for like 2 to 3 years, like I don't even know how long that stage was actually part of the rule set, but if anyone played on that, I don't know if there's cursing allowed on this podcast, but
Oh, you're
anyone
good.
playing
You're good.
on that fucking stage, I don't even understand. That stage is an abomination.
Yeah.
That stage was played on for so long, and the same thing with Delfino's. It turned into fucking stairs at some point in the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good discussion to go into how stages have been, I think, mostly changed for the better with the changes we've made so far. Originally with the PMBR rule set that I think was implemented at Smash and Splash for the first time, and then from there in P Plus they kind of kept those changes through, and made a few more changes, I think, to the stage list and how the stages themselves work. And overall, it's been something I think has been received kind of positively. So
Mhm.
I
I,
agree with
I
you though,
I'm
Stango, that we definitely like should just start to at least try different stage lists because like we're already playing a modded game. I don't see the problem with modding some other stages, making things a little bit more tournament legal, more comfortable for players. Even just having very different singles versus doubles stages. I think that's perfectly fine.
Yep, that's what we have in Dubs build. We actually just today made two SDs, one with double stages and one with single stages, where like a lot of them from Dubs build are in singles, but there are some ones that just are definitely not appropriate for singles at all. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I think
yeah.
what would be cool if I know that I'm just kind of like throwing this out there, but if possible, to have both of them be on one build and have just a toggleable switch for singles or doubles. Go into the menu, hit this one, and then it just automatically turns on all of the double stages or all of the single stages, so that when you go to your CSS, or sorry, the stage select, and you ban all your stages, it automatically bans, either all the
Well,
legal or not legal stages.
well, if if you're looking at Bird and Boyko in the chat, they may have something up their sleeves in that regard.
Oh,
That's all I'll say.
Oh
really?
wow, I see this. I see. That may be a thing, is what Bird says. So yeah, I mean, I look forward to kind of a release of a build that kind of has this idea of, you know, catering more to dubs kind of stage lists. Obviously, like you guys are working with on it on the East Coast, and I look forward to seeing something like that. Hopefully for,
Everyone.
the whole community soon. Yeah. But I guess we can move on to a few more things about doubles besides just stages. One of the points you brought up was, the character variety in PM and how, like, compared to a game like Melee, uh, it's insane how many different doubles teams can be played and, how they all kind of have their own purpose. So I guess we could talk a bit about that. Kind of starting with some characters maybe that you think are really strong, or any teams in particular you think are really strong or really weak.
Yeah, so really good teams. I think one that pretty much no one would be surprised about is definitely Fox Wario. Like from what we've seen a little bit out of like people just kind of playing around with Wario and like teaming with a Fox, like particularly me most of the time, is that like I feel like most people on the East Coast in our little Dubs group kind of agree that that's very possibly and just super real, like just the best team by like a lot. Um, Fox in general, like in PM doubles, is kind of like the king of doubles again, just like how he was in Melee. Just because of the attributes that he brings to your team. He brings kill power, he brings decent neutral, he brings pressure. He doesn't really die that easily.
He's fast.
Just really, yeah, really fast. He just kind of has it all in doubles, and like that's what we just talk about all the time. He has it all in doubles. Um, Fox Warrior really good. Pretty much like all top tier pairings and singles to Fox is just blanket good, like ZSS, Meta Knight, uh, Marth, obviously, Sheik, everything like that. Some pretty decent teams though, like one team that I always thought was a little weird that how good it is, like me and DVD, like we played a lot of Toon Link Fox. That was a team that him and Emby played like way back in the day, before Emby like made the switch over to like Ike and like play Diddy from here and there. That team is
Mhm.
stupid good. It actually surprised me how good it is. It just kind of weirdly works with each other. Like the defensiveness of Toon Link and like some of his moves just set up for Fox so easily. Um, some other teams I could really think of, like double ZSS, is like a crime if you're off stage. If
ZSS
you're
is a
off
crime.
stage,
Single DSS is a crime,
Yeah.
honestly.
double ZSS flies. They both fly. You're off stage. You're dying. It's like very unfair.
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, it's a lot of the teams that are like good in singles are good in doubles, like where you're looking at the combination of all these top tiers, like they're all pretty good paired up with each other. There isn't any kind of like unique teams that like I can think of that we've hashed out, just because I feel like our group in particular doesn't play like a lot of the out of the box characters. Like we think Ganon is a big step up in doubles just because of his overall kill power.
I agree.
Same thing with like what's the other character? Luigi. Me and Sosa were actually just playing double Luigi and just fucking going crazy on 12 buffer. Like just a few hours ago, actually. Um,
Mhm.
Kirby is also really good in doubles. As I see in the chat, Boyko has a pretty sick, nasty Kirby. 100% hit accuracy on the up B spike. If you're off stage, last stock, you're getting up B spiked. It's unavoidable. Um, yeah. Like I said, nothing really like really weird or niche that would make you think like, oh wow, that's weird that is a good team.
Yeah.
Overrated characters in doubles. Nothing I could really think of like on the top of my mind, just because I feel like the meta of the doubles game itself is kind of like very unexplored.
Underdeveloped, you'd say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
underdeveloped. I feel like our group has doubles pretty explored and like what we know and what we play. Running into more things, like it would obviously modify certain things, but I think what we kind of figured out and know and play as right now is pretty good enough for what is out there, and I don't think anything would be too surprising. Um,
Are
but yeah,
there any sort of like roles that you think characters play in doubles, like having a defensive character, having an aggro character, having a character that just is a tank, that sort of thing? And if
so
so, like, do you think that there's a particular combination of those things that you would find in the more optimal doubles teams?
So to kind of answer mainly the first question of it of like roles, I think doubles is way too dynamic of a format to like have a set role. I think most characters when they're like labeled as support, aggro, or whatever, I think that's not how doubles is played almost 90% of the time at an optimal level. I think
Yeah.
the dynamic of doubles and like how it changes like based on position and stuff like that. If your character can't do both, your character is generally pretty bad in doubles. If your character can't be in more of a supportive position where they're playing behind, they're helping you back on stage, and your character also isn't very good at taking space or like pushing advantage, your character's just generally not good in doubles. I think like stigmating a character and like this is what your role is doesn't really make sense just because like doubles requires different things for you in different positions at different times.
Yeah, I
So most
100% agree.
yeah,
Yeah, because like,
I think when I like saw a tier list of like support and aggro like roles and doubles, I just didn't agree with the concept in general just cuz that's just not really how doubles works. Like you can't really play to a like let's say for example, I'll say a perfect example for this like Captain Falcon. Captain Falcon is really good at pushing space and pushing advantage. But he's not very good at saving, just because he doesn't have great moves to save. Same thing with Ike. Ike can't really save people because he swings too fucking hard. Um,
yeah.
so it's like it's not like Ike and Falcon can only be aggro. Like that's all they can ever do. Like you have to support your teammate from time to time, and you can't just ignore that aspect of the game. So that's what makes them a little bit lower in the tier of doubles for me. But I think they're good enough at being aggro that it kind of outshines that. But against a pretty good team, that's where like you'll start seeing that weakness of that, where the exploitation of this character's weakness really comes out. Um,
Yeah.
so because
And I
it's like
think
it's
like
oh sorry.
yeah, I was gonna just add on, like I think like, when we're talking about some of the strong characters like Fox and Zero Suit, like they have the ability to both push the advantage but also like stay back and, support really well just because they're fast characters and they have quite a diverse move set. So it kind of makes sense that, those characters ended up being some of the characters you consider to be really good in doubles.
Yeah. And it's kind of like where, those terms of support and aggro, like you kind of see those like in like MOBA games, like it just doesn't work like that. You have to be very flexible as a character in doubles just cuz it's not only
State of the
you or
game's
your teammate.
changing.
Yeah, the game changes all the time. It's not like, "Oh, I'm playing ADC, I'm just playing for the late game." Like, "Oh, I'm just playing to be aggressive. That's all I do." Because if you kind of go into something one step minded to that, you'll either lose opportunity that is presented to you, or you know someone's going to exploit the weakness of what your character really is in doubles. So that's just my thoughts on it. I don't think roles really exist per se. I think the action state that you need to be in to do what those terms mean, like supporting and being aggressive.
Mhm. But
Cool.
yeah, I think that's a great point. Robert, do you have anything you wanted to say about that? I know you just chimed in.
Um, I don't think so. I mean, I feel like you covered quite a bit. I wasn't trying to, designate characters into a very specific role, just more like a general role. Like, say, Ganon wants to usually be more aggro and like play kind of tanky, just because that's what he's suited best for, I think. But
Right.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, definitely, if you set a character into a very specific role, then you kind of just are limiting yourself in doubles at that point.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because like we said, like the characters that can be played in the most diverse ways do end up being some of the best doubles characters. Because when they need to do a certain role, as we kind of talked about, or as Stang0 put it, like the state of like the game requires them to play a certain way, like they're able to have a strong way to play that way. Whereas, like he said with Captain Falcon, for example, like sometimes when it is like that support situation, it is a bit tough for him. So I think that's a uh, great discussion on the whole concept of roles and whether they should be set in stone or, as we said, probably not, and more so free form, and that each character kind of has their own strengths and weaknesses with the roles, but they have to be a good character. They have to be flexible in how they're playing.
Mhm.
I mean, that also just ends up coming down to the player as well. But I mean, that's kind of a whole nother discussion. Um, Kind of random doubles question here. Is there a character, Stango, that you think is the worst in doubles?
All right. Every time I always get asked a question about like worst, like in PM, I always am like, all right, I need to see a tier list because I don't even remember what characters are in this game.
Yeah,
I don't
I
blame
It
you.
feel the
happens.
same way.
Um, the worst in doubles. If I had to say someone, I would probably say something random, like maybe, probably like something completely random. Still looking at the tier list, stalling for time. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tough
Squirtle.
question, honestly.
Squirtle, I
Yeah.
would probably say. I mean, like, he's probably not even that bad in doubles, but I think when I'm looking at all the other characters, they still have something effective they can do. I think Yoshi's pretty good at gimping. He also is pretty decent at tanking damage. He's not even that bad at approaching. He has good damage output. His recovery is pretty decent in doubles. DD can actually just gimp characters. He kind of sucks in every
Live
aspect, though.
forever.
Yeah. Um, Live forever, but it just takes too long for him to get back. He's just really bad. he's definitely really down there. Like his only really mainstay is that he kind of can gimp most characters in the game in doubles just because of how much he can commit without like getting reversaled because there's another teammate on the stage. But yeah, DDD's pretty trash. Squirtle is like pretty whatever. Like that's would probably be between those two for me, honestly.
Boyko says Samus.
Samus. I think Samus is pretty bad as well. Yeah, Samus just takes too long to recover. Everything that she does, there's like 5 other characters that do it better. That just wants to CC spam and be like a wall. Bowser, Ike, Rob, Donkey Kong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
A cool question I actually see in the chat too is, do you think there's any singles characters that are pretty good who drastically are worse than doubles?
Yeah, no, as far as like a particular, it would probably be a lot of those characters because like in my opinion when it comes to singles in general, like I don't think there's really like totally unplayable characters in singles. I think there are some that like have horrible matchups and everything like that, but I think the cast is pretty balanced overall where it's like even top tiers like have to play pretty, on point against some like lower tier characters. Like Fox kind of stomps on Luigi, but he can't just get a complete free win of it. It is a matchup that you have to kind of be familiar with and play on point. Same thing with like Jigglypuff against like Sheik. Jigglypuff still edge guards the holy crap out of Sheik. And Sheik definitely wins that matchup in PM, mainly just because of the buffs to the throw game where
Yeah.
it's not just down throw is the only thing. It's like back throw can also lead to just early kills with back air. But it's also a matchup that Puff just can outspace Sheik. But a lot of the PM engine really helps Sheik, like RAR stuff. The needles
Yeah.
being a little bit different than melee, I believe, where it's like the advantage is like way better, something like that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of characters that definitely go down in doubles, but overall, the main thing about doubles is that it's very hard to gauge a single character's strength, except for the obvious ones like DDD and Samus and Squirtle. I feel like, just because the other teammate adds such a dynamic to their play. Like for example, um, characters like Game and Watch really enable like degenerate characters like Ness because you can't really camp that team because if you camp that team, they build up a bucket
Oh
and
no.
that gets real bad.
I'm getting flashbacks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Same
I've
thing
definitely
with like
seen that team in action.
Game and Watch Luigi, where like it's kind of the worser version of that team, but Luigi kind of has, overall a better stage presence of just like sliding across the stage and everything like that. But that team is kind of the same thing where like you don't really want to approach Luigi or Game and Watch, but you kind of have to. So it's like those kind of teams change the dynamic of where it's like what adds the difference of things. Like Link is like pretty bad by himself, but if you pair him with a fast character does a lot of work. Link is spamming smash attacks in the center. It's pretty effective. Like Link wants to be fucking going crazy on the C stick, and he'll do well in doubles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how like, certain characters bring about their own dynamic to just based also on their teammate, like, compared to how they're played in singles. Certain characters could be more effective or like have to play a different way. So it's definitely very interesting and definitely unexplored, as we've said, with some characters in PM, just because not as many with like the lack of rollback and stuff, in the quarantine especially, we haven't seen too much doubles play. I mean, obviously you guys on the East Coast play, but definitely on the West Coast, I don't think many people are net play fans.
I
So
think
they
the
definitely
only
steer away.
like doubles tournament we've seen in all of quarantine for PM might have been Dumb Shiny's his February tournament. What's it called? The thing we entered, Severe. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was some Valentine's themed tournament. I forget exactly what it was called,
I
but
think was like
yeah, he
that was
put
like
it
the only thing
together.
we've seen this whole year and a half, basically.
And that too, I don't think many players have played after that or were playing before that who are involved with that as far as doubles go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doubles is definitely. I feel like right now where, if we were to have, because everyone's talking about like after quarantine, first big major, like what is singles looking like? Because the landscape has got to be extremely different, just because everyone's just kind of been at home grinding or not playing and are looking to play again. So it's like
Mm,
everyone's kind of looking at that. One thing that's not really on a lot of people's minds is doubles, where I think, you know, with a lot of the people, like I can think of all the top teams that would be a combination over on the East Coast, like playing in tournament, it would just be like real bad. Like I feel like it would just be completely one sided for
mhm,
most doubles events. And it's kind of a shame in that case because like I do want doubles to kind of grow and like be very fleshed out as a format because I think it's really good in PM. Like I think PM doubles is like very, very deep in regards to like how you can play it with so many different characters in different stages. So that's definitely what I'm looking
mhm.
forward to.
Yeah, no, I mean the return to LAN will definitely be telling of a lot of things about the meta that are kind of guessing right now, like we don't really know, but a lot of people are guessing because obviously it's just centered on your region with net play. You kind of just see what your region has to offer rather than the rest of the world.
Mm.
So that'd be interesting.
I think
Other than
I got one final question for you, Stango. Are there any strats that you have for doubles, like maybe picking a partner or planning with your partner, picking your character with your partner, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I guess that kind of goes along communication. Like, what do you do for communication in doubles to kind of keep synergy up or stuff like that?
So I think what I always tell most people is like kind of like the highlights. I don't know how many bullet points this essentially would be, but this would probably be like 5 in my mind. Is that like the double strat that I primarily like to kind of focus on is, you kind of play a normal format of where like how does your characters play in neutral with each other? Like if you're playing with a fox and you're a sheik or something like that, um, what will be pretty strong is like she can throw out a hard hitting projectile like Needle, and then Fox can kind of play on platforms and play mix up where he gets in. Or if the other team approaches, he kind of counterattacks and lands on them. And I think the
Hmm.
most effective double strat is the second point is that a lot of the time you want to identify what the other team's like valuable character is. If we're talking about a spacey team, if it has a wolf and it's a Wario, Wolf is the valuable character. Wolf gets a lot of the damage on the board, and he has some pretty good kill setups. Uh, he's the one that needs to die the most. He's the easiest to get. He's the easiest to combo. Everything in that regard. So, like, identifying who is the target on the other team is really important. And then setting up the scenarios of 2v1ing that character as much as physically possible at every single moment. So usually what I try to tell most people as a third point is that whoever the target is, you want to play to get sandwich positions on them at all times. You know,
Hmm.
combo Wario to the edge, immediately turn around, don't even think about edge guarding, looking at him. Just set it up where you get the 2v1s on Wolf and you kind of space hard hitting moves that knock to your opponent. And then the fourth point is that when you're 2v1ing, team comboing in doubles, whatever you want to call it, it feels like the same thing where it's like you guys can realize with this in singles when you're getting your combos. Do you know what I mean when I'm saying you kind of like babysit some hit stun in the middle of a combo to maybe optimize the distance you send them or get another hit?
Yeah,
Where it's like
Yeah,
I definitely.
you get a big pop up. You have all the time in the world to hit them. You can hit them immediately, but you're like, okay, so I have so much time here. Let me like get a really good hit here because I can even further my damage, or like this just gives me a better position for what's next.
yeah.
Mhm, absolutely.
In doubles, you pretty much never want to do that because that requires reacting, and reacting to team combos is extremely difficult. It's like one of the most difficult things to do. You have to team combo with a lot of intuition, where it's like, where does this move typically send at this percent most of the time? Like, if Fox back airs a character to me at 60%, where does this generally send? And you kind of just want to put a move there, and you want to, you know, do a timing prediction, but you really don't want to try to react because, when you're hitting someone at like 60% of a Fox back air that happens so instantly, it's so difficult to react to that. Because it's just in the mindset of trying to be efficient with like babysitting the hit stun versus like getting the damage out there. So it sounds weird when you say that because it's like, so not reacting at all, like in this scenario, but it's like actually just the right thing to do. Because once you get the timing of it kind of figured out, that's where like you start getting like the 30, 40, 50 damage into edge guard immediately. And it happens so quick and you're like, oh wow, that was kind of absurd. Like that was like some Android Armada like stuff right there. Now the difference of that versus team setups is very distinct though. Team setups are like, okay, what are like some bread and butters we can do? Like, you're Sheik, I'm Fox, you get a grab, I up smash. That's going to send at a set distance almost every time at varying percents. So you like know what to do in that regard. Same thing with this. I've land down air and I'm in the middle of down airing someone with Fox, short hop down air, and I'm facing you. You know I'm going to shine. I'm reacting to down smash. I'm going to down smash the guy that you shine to me. And then the Fox is going to be like, I'm down airing. I know I'm shining to you. I know you're in front of me. I'm going to anticipate you down smash. I'm going to immediately back air in that direction. I'm not going to even think about it. I'm just going to do it. So that's where like the transition of a team setup to like an intuitive team combo comes in, where instead of trying to react to the down smash and be like, okay, I back air now, I'm like, nope, down air, shine, back air, not even thinking about it, just throwing out the back air. It's going to hit. It's that's where like the trust of it comes in, where it's like you transition from a setup to just doing team combos. And it's like team combos, you just guess. You just guess a lot of time and have the intuition of what your teammate is looking for and be like, hey, if I land an up tilt with Fox, it's generally a lot better for me to hit first because it's my launcher. Me to hit first and you position around whatever I'm going to do, up air, back air, etc. But that's one of the biggest strats in the 2v1 is that you want to lose the mindset of like being efficient with like babysitting the hit stun and just getting the damage out there. And then finally, with the fifth point, which I kind of alluded to, is like learn your team setups and communication. Communication, there's going to be different people out there. Some people who don't talk whatsoever. Some people who are very talkative. I think either are fine. I don't think there's a truly better way between the two. I think if someone wants to, change the dynamic of a team by like, oh, we have to communicate and everything like that, I think that's you're like trying to push someone in a certain way that it's not going to work. You're not going to change that person's, method of play by just like telling them, oh, you have to talk more. You have to tell me what you're doing. You have to, etc. Having simple things of like, I need some help. I'm recovering. I'm going high. I'm going low. Grabbing ledge, etc. Those things are fine. I think overall they don't really make much of a difference because like the way I play, like I talk sometimes, but I talk to my teammate after in the middle of games, like in friendlies, like, hey, like you should do this like in almost every situation because I'm going to anticipate this. And then that's how I play. I almost never talk and tell people what to do. I'm just like, you're going to do this. I already know this. And it's kind of the same thing with like the 2v1 where like, I'm not going to be like, oh, you need a back air. You need an air. You need a fair. I'm like, you're going to do this. I'm not thinking about it. Back air, up air, kill. I'm not even thinking about it. So it's like the communication thing. You have to find your flow with it with like your teammate if you have a static teammate. And if you're teaming with someone the first time, just be like, hey, are you very talkative? Is there certain things that we should kind of have as a rule? A basic rule I usually have, the character that's closest to the ledge in an edge guard situation, if it's required, should grab the ledge. They should be the one that grabbed the ledge because it just simplifies the scenario. There's no misinformation about it of like, oh, well, I'm better on the ledge, but, I have to cross you up, but you have to know I'm going to do that. And it just confuses things. And then lastly, just knowing your setups. Look at your character, see like, okay, what's like a really efficient 30, 40 damage right here? Sheik, forward throw into Fox, Nair, back air, or up smash. Probably back air because then you can down smash, then I can up smash, then I can up air them. And that's like 70%. And that's like done in 2-3 seconds. So like just knowing your normal setups, because sometimes in doubles, not everything is about like the non-reactive 2v1 combo. It's just like, okay, we got to grab. It's a quick 2v1. We're probably not getting a kill here. Let's just do a setup, quick one. It's a very simple one. But yeah, that's about like the 5 points I would say as like an overall double strategy. One thing I will say, one size does not fit all. I play doubles as well with Melee. There's someone I play doubles with all the time in Melee. I'm kind of mending him to that strategy of how like I play doubles in neutral and like do the 2v1s, and like he kind of conflicts it because he likes approaching all the time, and I'm like, no, that's not very good. Just because like the efficiency and time usage you're doing is just not great there. But yeah, you just play around with it and just be communicative with your teammate and just be like, hey, what do we need to do better here? And if you're losing a match in doubles by a lot of stocks or damage or anything like that, the one thing I will tell you, know who your target is and just try to 2v1 them as much as possible, because it's honestly, in the grand scheme of things, as any strat, it's the most efficient by far. It will win you way more games than you probably deserve to win. It's kind of broken, honestly. Like if you can get it off consistently, it's kind of unfair. That's about it.
Are you taking notes, Severe?
I'm sure in the VOD I'll definitely look back at some of the things that you said. I mean, a lot of great advice there for both us, as we're a static team kind of right now, and then also for our viewers. I mean, a lot of stuff to take away from that discussion. And I mean, a lot of well thought out thoughts, and I'm sure well backed up, because obviously you play doubles so much. I think that was a lot of good information for everyone. Anything you have to say, Robert? Or I'm kind of think we've covered everything that we wanted to about doubles, or at least we're getting low on time for this section.
Yeah, I mean, Stang0, you just covered so much. Honestly, I didn't realize you had such a big brain.
You should see my Ike. You'll think different.
Sometimes simple is more effective, that's what we think about. But I mean, overall, I really appreciate the effort that you've put into this discussion about doubles, and it really shows like your passion for it. Like with each kind of thing that you said, like it felt like you really knew what you were talking about, and you were like passionate about talking about it. So it was great to listen to, and I'm sure our viewers really appreciate the information that you gave everyone.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys for having me on and discussing the topic, because I think it's definitely an interesting one, and I just hope in general, like, net play, if we ever see the addition of rollback, I think that will definitely breed some licensed doubles if we can get it to work with that.
Fingers crossed.
And I just kind of hope as well with, in general, when it comes to lands, that, the motivation to, improve the doubles metagame will be there. I will definitely be entering doubles events with, like, don't have a confirmed static partner yet, but, I'm sure I'll find somebody to, be my partner in crime.
Absolutely.
You'll find your double soulmate one day, Stang0.
Yep.
Someone who's hopefully as passionate about it as you are, can keep up with your discussions on them.
It's all right. If they're not as passionate, I'll just beat it into them. It's
fine. Is there any last thoughts? Anything you want to plug, Stang0?
Yeah.
Shoutouts to East Coast PM, best region in the world. When it comes to LAN, West versus East is going to happen. It's going to be creaming. It's not going to be close. And shoutouts to the PM dev team for, taking P plus to, its finale and still making improvements to bug changes and everything like that. Like the third or fourth patch where Yoshi couldn't jump out of shield, but we'll get it right at some point. I'm also fine if Yoshi can't jump out of shield because it's Yoshi, but you
Yeah.
can't have everything that we want in this world. But yeah, that's all I would really want to say for that. Thanks again for you guys for making this content for PM, just because I know the scene, what will keep the scene alive during these kind of downtimes is just good content. And I think you know doing interviews and just general topics and things like that, it's just a good way to get people involved in thinking about the game. So I think this is really great what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for that, and we appreciate you coming on and spending your time. I hope you had a great experience on here.
One last thing.
Yeah.
Robert?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Down throw fair. No more back throw.
Okay. Okay.
That's all I wanted to say. I know you won that tournament the other day. Bird was telling me. I was telling him we made a bet that he tried to back throw fair somebody, and Bird said he was just like, you guys are talking crazy on my boy Robert, and I was like, that's fine. Did you try to back throw fair? He's like, I don't know. And I was just like, all right, that's no more. That's all.
I gotta lab some stuff out on some of the like some of the lighter characters like Zelda, Samus, because down throw just doesn't work at higher percents, at kill percents.
Yeah, I think for that you should probably just F throw because that thing sends to Jamaica. Maybe I it wrong. That's probably the throw that I would probably use.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks so much, Stang0. I think we're gonna cut to a break. If you guys stick around, we're gonna be back with Che talking about a bit about content creation. But that's gonna be all for this segment on doubles, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes.
So long.
Okay.
Hello, friend. I'm already in there. Oh, maybe I'm not. I just heard it echo, and I'm not sure if I'm actually still on the stream.
And we're back.
Yeah, great discussion with Stang0 that we had just now about doubles. A lot of informative information. And now we're kind of going to shift gears. Instead of talking about the game, we're kind of going to be talking more about content creation and kind of what that means for the community.
Yeah. We're getting meta here, but not meta like in the game.
Yeah, sort of. All right, but yeah, without further ado, I mean, we're gonna be bringing in one of the content creators from the scene, Che. Let me know when he's on, Robert. He can go ahead and introduce himself once he is.
Che, you are live.
Great.
What's up, guys?
So, yeah, you can give a short introduction for yourself for those who may not know what your role in the community is or kind of who you are.
So I'm Che. I'm one of the admins of the Project M Nexus Discord. It's I'm not only just the Discord, but the whole team. It's a team of a lot of people, and I feel like not not everyone's aware about how many people help out in Nexus. Um, I I often see people think that Saber is still running that show, even though he's been gone for a little bit now. But he got a lot of content creators and community contributors there. Kirby's, uh, Motobug, Shikaka's, of course, is I think he created the whole thing initially with him and Saber. And they've been, I mean, there's so many other people on the team, Electropolitan, Fudge Pop, Casino Wolf. There's a lot of people there who just kind of hang out and pitch ideas and create stuff that we can use in videos. It's kind of a big team, so I'm just gonna be I'm one person of many on the Nexus team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but you
And,
control
I mean-
the Twitch account, so you're the main guy, right?
You get all that clout.
Yeah, sure, okay. I'm the guy who has the Twitter, so I guess that means I'm like the what is that, like the Wendy's account? Ever go on the Wendy's Twitter?
Yeah.
That guy runs the show. He's the
Kinda.
CEO.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen
Hey.
the Mexican KFC Twitter?
No.
I have
That-
not.
That Twitter is wild. They post some crazy memes there. It's a good time.
Mexican
Yeah.
KFC.
I will post it in the Discord to show you guys later, but it's good. It's got some good stuff.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look, but yeah, I mean, what Nexus is doing for the community, I think, is really great. A lot of good videos on there, a lot of good series too, that people can watch to kind of learn a bit more about the game. Obviously, you have the Clips of the Week series has been going on. I think probably your longest series, definitely.
Yeah.
on the
We just hit
channel.
200.
Yeah, so
200
that's
weeks.
a great milestone.
That's
But-
almost 4 years if you do the math.
hmm
Yeah,
I was gonna do
almost.
it, but I'm glad you did.
But yeah, I mean, really what I kind of want to talk about is what role that we think content creation has in the community. Since I think personally that it's probably one of the most important parts of getting people into the community and getting them to stay interested in the game and community. So I kind of want to hear your thoughts and maybe a little bit about like why you join Nexus or like what's like kind of the reason behind helping with content.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Like content creation, I think the content creation is incredibly important in my opinion as a biased content creator. But like the people who don't know about the game, who stumble upon it, just search in YouTube or they're on Twitch and they see a top player who happened to enter a PM tournament or something like that. The first thing they're gonna do after they have a little bit of tangential interest is they're gonna go to YouTube or they're gonna go to the subreddit and they're gonna go, okay, what is this game about? What can I find on this game? I want to see more, and it's really important to have like some actual. There was a drought like post 3.6 the shutdown where there really wasn't much of anything going on for PM. We had a really large bunch of people actively contributing to the content, like had Bidoof, we had a bunch of good commentators, just a bunch of people making combo videos. You had top players releasing their combo videos, and then for a while there was like absolutely nothing. And I think the reason that Nexus was created was to kind of fill that void because there was what Shikaka, maybe Blue Zone was making stuff. I don't even know if Saber at the time. Saber had his clips of the week at the time, but there wasn't really much. And to this day, I mean, there's still not too much. But the best thing you can do is make something really high quality that the first thing that shows up on YouTube or wherever they decide to search comes up and it's something really interesting and well made. People, okay, now I want to tune into the next time this happens. It's really important to have that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, you kind of bring up a good point with like, when I first started watching Smash, the first thing I do is just look up like how to play Melee, for example, if that's like the game that you're getting into, or how to play Project Plus, if that's the game you're getting into, or like you just look up like Project Plus highlights. You try and like see something about the game, and
Or how to play
I think,
X character in Project Plus.
yeah. So like all those types of videos are something that, I think Nexus has been working towards providing a space for. And I think the idea of having like a centralized place where people can go and like be like, oh, well, if I'm looking for Project Plus content, I'm gonna go to Project M Nexus, or I'm gonna go like watch this video by Project M Nexus to learn something. I think it's a really cool idea.
It's we kind of wanted it to be a hub for people to go to and uh kind of if they don't want to create content and like um for us to like put on our channel, we want to like amplify the signal, like signal boost or whatever they call it. But like we want to make sure that there's no, for a while there was no PMDT. Now we have a P plus DT, but there was no place for you to go to. You can't go to VG Bootcamp and find a bunch of VODs there. You can't go. There was no one place to go where someone would constantly be showing off the new stuff. Like the best place besides, I mean, the best place to go to was the subreddit, and even then, that's slowed down a lot recently. So we've always found it really important to whenever there's something that's great that the PM community has made, we just want to throw it on Twitter. We'll plug it on our YouTube. Just whatever we can do to put it in front of people, because that's what PM has always needed. It needs to be put in front of people because you're not gonna find it. You're not just gonna see an advertisement with, oh, there's this new PM tournament.
Yeah, you're not gonna go on the front page of Twitch and see it at Beyond the Summit for right now,
Yeah.
like
It may be
same thing
soon.
with
Maybe
some of the
soon.
other Smash games.
Who knows?
Maybe one day, who knows? But yeah, I mean, I do think the idea of having a place for PM where it kind of like, oh, if I'm following this account on Twitter, like PM Nexus, like I'll probably be able to keep up with some of the important stuff going on. So like, yeah, I could see like how that's a great thing for the scene. And really, I kind of want to include Robert in this conversation, but we're going to be talking about how, uh, like, what types of content do you think are right now some of the most important things for the scene? Like, obviously, we are doing kind of our own podcast type thing, which we're hoping, gets people interested. But I'm kind of interested, like, maybe there's some ideas you have at Nexus or that you think right now are working for the community, stuff like that.
Well, there's kind of, I know for Nexus, there's always been a little bit. There's kind of two fronts where we have our clips of the week, which is I think more aimed at casuals, I want to say. I mean, it's not really just casuals, but it's something that someone can look up when they look up PM highlights. That's what they're going to
Yeah.
find. So it's really accessible. It's really easy to just you go straight inject PM directly and apply directly to forehead, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's right there. You can't miss it. But there's also like content that PM still doesn't really have and we don't have it in our community. Like I maybe like content creators who have a little bit more of like a personality that they're known for that uh people kind of tune in for that. That's
Yeah.
something that the PM community doesn't really have right now, and it's something that I think we've got new editors for clips of the week, and I've noticed that their style is a little bit more conducive to like some comedy and things like that. So I'm interested to see how that works. T-Rye and Trucker Hat have really came in and they swooped they saved the day for clips of the week because there was a while where we didn't know if we were gonna have an editor for that, and
Mhm.
they volunteered and the stuff that they've been showing off, like their own take on clips of the week, is I think a little bit interesting because it's like they've got like a little bit more comedy. At least I've noticed from T-Rye for sure. He's got his own like he likes to show off the funny clips sometimes a little bit more than our past editors. And then Trigger Hat has like he actually breaks down and slows down the combos. Has a little he put like this little
He
blurb.
put a little bit of, yeah, I saw that on the one of the
Yeah,
most recent ones. He puts that blur, but he's like, "Oh, this is really cool because this happened," you know? Or
exactly.
yeah.
I think that's really cool and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what they do with that. But there's kind of like, do you want to put emphasis on tutorials? Because new players are going to want to watch tutorials, but also new people are going to want to find like some of the more casual, funny content. There's kind of a give and take, and not everyone's great at everything. Like, I'm not really good at the funny content, but I like to make tutorials. So that's what I kind of focus on. Um, so they're both important, and that's something that PM Nexus has trying to strike a balance with that.
I think what is really lacking right now, at least in my mind, is just tutorials. Like, is there like a brief video guide for every character in P Plus right now? I'm pretty sure there's not.
Yeah.
I know PM Nexus has what, maybe 5 characters you guys have covered or so.
If that.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else has really made too many things to cover other characters. I know Saber's made his IV guide, but like if there's nothing for other characters, I think that's one thing that we could really use. And obviously, I'm not trying to like put this on you specifically, Che, or Project M Nexus, but that's one thing. Because if I go into another fighting game, and I want to learn a character, the very first thing I at least do is go on YouTube and search up either bread and butter combos for X character or how to play this character in this game. Because that, like, I don't know, it's just how my brain works. And I figure that it's like a good amount of other people who think that way. And if you have new people coming in and they like want to learn this character, they have to put in a little bit of extra effort to have to like go into a Discord and then ask somebody there at the Discord, hey, like, you got any tips on how to play this character? And that's just I don't know. That's one thing I think we could definitely use as a good guide for every character in PM. But that's also hard because P Plus is continually evolving, and some things in one video might like get patched out in the next video. So it's kind of hard.
Guide for at the end of 3.6, which I thought was funny. It was like in development hell for almost close to a year, and then we finally got it out, and then a year later, P Plus development started. Like half of that video had stuff on the chain grab. It was hilarious. But I think we've gotten better at Project M Nexus at making stuff. Like that said, we're actually working on tutorials right now, and stuff is coming soon. TM.
Oh yeah. I mean, one of the things I'm gonna plug kind of an old channel that I used to kind of follow a little bit, but I think Jason Waterfalls made a Project M Essentials channel, and I thought the idea of that was really cool. like obviously he doesn't work on the channel anymore, and he doesn't have as big of a role in the community anymore. But that channel was actually something that I thought was really well designed and really well thought out, and having just like things that go over mechanics, not just even characters, but like stuff like wave bouncing, B reversing, uh, how certain like you know how certain things happen in the game, like wave dropping. I thought it was pretty interesting and going over like how that stuff works. So that may be something that I hope the community sees going forward. I mean, obviously, one thing that is true about content creation is it's really, really time consuming.
Yes.
Um,
I think all three of us here know that.
yeah, and it's hard to find the motivation often to continue with projects that you've been working on for a while, or get them started to something that feels workable. And it's just a long process. um but I think it's so important, and obviously you know everyone who's doing their part is contributing to something greater than us. It sounds dramatic, but that's kind of how I view it.
It's really strange, because you mentioned that it's really hard, but like PM is in a weird spot where it won't grow unless you. I mean, there's new stuff being made for like the game is actively changing now, and I think that's bringing a lot of people in there. But as far as between patches and stuff like that, you're not gonna have new eyes on the scene without either having tournaments that are really exciting or making new content. And obviously, there's no tournaments happening right now. So
Mm.
like, in order to make new you have to make new content for it, and in order to get a lot of eyes and uh, attention to your content, the game has to be big, and we're not that either. So the game's not growing because there's not that much content being created. But then you want to try and get rewarded for making content, and that's not happening because the game's small, and it's kind of like a feedback loop, and it's kind of hard
Yeah.
to get out of that until there's more of a content creation culture with our game.
Yeah, we're definitely stuck in a really tough spot, I think.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I mean, one of the tough things is that, it isn't that rewarding till we kind of eventually see a blow up of the community. And right now, like since our community is kind of small, it's kind of difficult to see a lot of the effects our content has on the community. Um, but yeah, a good point that's brought up by Frost in the chat too is like, the beginner chord, which was created, and they're doing like the freshman feud kind of content. Um, I think like content for beginners right now, like we've been saying, is something that is being more appreciated. Like stuff where beginners are asking, oh, in that Discord, oh, what are the resources I can look at for learning these things, and they're able to point to that, like whatever content is available. But having updated stuff is difficult in our game because we don't have 100 content creators. We have like 5, 5 channels maybe at max that do stuff, and that too not regularly most of the time.
Yeah, we got like PM Nexus, we got Saber, we got Lordy Hot Dog, we got Blue Zone, we got.
I mean, Saber's really holding it down right now in terms of regular content.
Saber's mega holding it down, dude. I mean, it was Saber and PM Nexus. Because you got your weekly combo videos, highlights, and you got Saber's really educational and historical content, which is pretty cool. But you're definitely right that we're missing a little bit of like the more comedic aspect. We do have Lordy Hot Dog, who is
shoutouts to
very much a character. But I don't know if we have anyone else who fits that niche right now.
Yeah, I mean, Nez has like kind of, I'd say he has like a.
How could I forget Nez or Genia?
It's pretty interactive, and
a variety stream.
Yeah, and like I know today he was doing a stream on doing like a an Iron Man today. So a lot of, more casual based content where it's more like for the community and more something to relax and watch. But
Yeah, what
yeah, I mean,
Saber brings up a
go
good
ahead.
point that I was going to mention as well, is that he doesn't put it on YouTube. And that's kind of a big thing, I think, because those VODs are going to get lost. And if somebody wants to watch Nez destroy somebody in an Iron Man later on, the only way that they're going to get it is by tuning in live to his stream whenever that happens. And, that it's just kind of a missed opportunity. And I kind of am one to blame here, too, because I haven't posted any of my VODs on YouTube either.
At least this podcast is on YouTube.
At least
so.
this podcast is there. Go to youtube.com and look up the Lon Lon Ranch. I don't think we have our fancy YouTube URL yet, but
Yeah, we don't yet, but yeah, I mean, having YouTube content, even just from the people who stream, I mean, it's difficult, but uh, and I think one of the big things too is just like with with games like Ultimate, for example, people have sponsors that, help them edit their content and then they get, you know, paid for making the content and it's super like rewarding. For us, it's like we said, it's not as rewarding till we kind of get to that point. But it's so important that for our game to grow that people kind of don't see how important it is.
I will say that speaking of like putting stuff on YouTube, and it hasn't been something. It's been something that Nexus has thought about, and we've tried to address it just to try and get people to like. We made a VODs channel, and we offered to host people's VODs on a separate channel from the Nexus channel that we made specifically. Just if you want a place to throw your VODs, hit us up and we'll put them up on there. We also offered just video hosting for people. If you don't think your channel is going to get a lot of views or you want to just collaborate or something, we'll throw your video up on we'll host your video. And you can throw whatever you want up on there as long as it's, within reason and stuff. You can put it on our channel just so people can see your stuff and hear about you. I think it's nice that Nexus has like some community, like it's got a few subscribers and people who tune into it, and there's just not really that many places where people can find PM stuff. So
Mhm.
if you want to just throw your something up on there on our channel just so that people can see it and maybe find you elsewhere, um just we're offering. Yeah, it's just
Mhm.
something for people in case they don't know.
hit Che
Yeah.
up in his DMs if you want more information on that.
Yeah. No, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. For
I'm,
a lot of people.
I'm not kidding about that either. Just
Yeah,
to be
for
clear, that was not a joke. Actually, DM Che if you're
seriously.
interested.
Yeah. No, yeah, but I mean, I think we are starting to, hopefully, as land comes back and we have at least some tournament bots, that contributes a little. But also, like, in the net play era, it is. I was always kind of saying, like, content is what we need to survive through that era. And, like, that's kind of one of the reasons I also did, like, No Fundies League was because I felt like it'd provide good content, even though, um, it wasn't, like, as competitive because it's just net play. But I think it did provide a lot of good viewership for the scene. We got those VODs uploaded to SoCal PM, but having just tournament streams in the net play area isn't something that's reliable. um, as far as like consistent content is. So we'll get that back with LAN, but hopefully going into LAN we see a bit more of like character guides, as Robert was saying, or even just tutorials on mechanics. Just kind of people coming together to kind of show off our game.
I can't wait to use this TV. This TV right here. Look at I put it's so clearly not being used. I'm like sitting in a chair like horizontal to it. It's soon.
Fingers crossed very soon. I saw that TriPoint Smash is coming back. Next month, right?
Yes, next month. I
Mhm.
think we're like only, let's see, three weeks away. It's the 18th, I think. Oh, I'm so
Mhm.
ready. I'm so ready. I don't know. I know I was in Discord and people were talking about trying to fly out here, and it's going to be entrant capped. So there was a long time where people were talking about, all right, when TPS comes back, it's going to blow up. I don't think it's going to blow up just because it's not. We're not there yet. But I'm just glad to have a tournament scene again. I'm glad to have locals.
What is the cap? Because I was one of those people thinking about maybe just literally flying out there and getting my
I
hands on
don't know.
some locals again.
I don't know. I don't think they've announced it yet. So we'll see. But I just know it won't be. There were so many people talking about, oh, the first SG, I'm gonna go out there. The first Tri-Point Smash, I'm gonna go there. The first whatever, I'm gonna fly out. It's been too long, and now I'm starting to realize, okay, maybe it's not gonna be a huge mini major, but I'm glad people are interested, and that makes me very very excited for majors when they come back because I think people are itching.
Oh, definitely.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, people definitely itching for their fix of LAN too. I think people are so tired of net play at this point. Um, myself included. It just being able to sit next to someone and talk to them in person while you're playing, even like that is just such a different experience. Not just the, actual fact that you're playing with delay. Just sitting next to people, something that I missed a lot about tournaments.
Took it
We'll
for
see.
granted.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not the same as being in a Discord call as you net play.
yeah, it's definitely not. Saber does bring up that I used to sit in silence next to him while we played, but it definitely is a better experience than
But you sit in silence
sitting in
together.
sitting in silence in a Discord call or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if we have much more on content. I don't know if you have something, Robert, that you wanted to ask Che in particular. Or if you have something, Che, that you kind of wanted to bring up.
Um, just as far as I just really want to emphasize that if you guys have anything that you're working on, not specifically you potatoes and Suvir, but I mean everyone, if the viewers, anyone, you got friends, just let them know that if they got something that's PM related and they want to get the word out, just let us know and we'll do whatever we can to put it in front of people's faces. Um, PM Nexus is definitely out there trying to make the game bigger, whatever way we
Mhm.
can. There's lots of people from all over, scenes all over. We recently got EU players, um, and tournament organizers and just community members, um, to join the Nexus team. So we're really just trying to just help grow the game wherever we can.
Mhm. Absolutely. If you don't have anything else, Robert, I'm not sure if you got anything.
Trailer for Dubs build. Do it, Bird. Put it on PM Nexus. That's big.
Yeah. Yeah,
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 I'm
yeah.
excited for this Dubs build. I've been hearing rumors
Yeah,
about all those their custom stages or whatever. Kind of hype.
yeah.
I had
Kind of
no
hype.
idea.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
I got nothing else here other than I'm gonna try and do my best to actually upload my VODs onto YouTube so that my stuff doesn't get lost forever.
Do that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's sad thinking about the like I just because of my laziness and forgetfulness that over a year of my entire stream is gone apart from the few clips that have come out of it.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
I don't want to
I
think
mean,
about
it
it.
is difficult, like we said, and it's not as rewarding as we'd like it to be, but over time, I do think it becomes, as the game will grow, which I'm hoping we see a lot of growth when LAN comes back. Um, the content just gonna blow up more and more, you know.
Yeah, I think so.
So
People are itching to play this game, and uh, I don't want to roll back the. It sounds like we're wrapping it up, but I know that there was a lot of people on Twitter. There was a lot of noise about Save Melee and all that stuff, and we're gonna help out PM. I'm just saying, I didn't forget. Like, y'all wanna host some majors next to us? We're right here, dude. We're ready to go.
Hey, none of us are
Yeah,
forgetting
yeah.
that one, Che.
We didn't forget,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
We didn't forget.
I hope you got
Yeah.
your Twitter screenshots ready.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, hashtag 3 p.m., right?
You'll be like, remember this? Was this you? This you? Yeah. So
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, overall, it's going to be interesting to see how things go when we get back. And, yeah, I guess you can kind of, do you have any shout outs you want to give, Che, or things to plug? I mean, obviously, Project M Nexus, if you're not subscribed to it on YouTube, everyone should be subscribed to that
Please
channel.
go.
Yes.
uh
But any shout outs you got or things to plug?
shout out to Illinois scene, shout out to Swanner. Shout out to Saber, who will forever be part of PM Nexus admin team.
Subscribe to Saber as well.
Subscribe to Saber. Shout outs to I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head. Just anyone who's part of the PM scene. We love y'all. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, absolutely. Also make sure to subscribe to the Lon Lon Ranch channel.
Let's see if we can pull up a link for that real quick.
Is that its own channel or?
We do have its own
YouTube?
channel now. Yes.
Yeah, we do have its own
Oh.
channel now. Our first episode of the podcast is already uploaded there. So if you missed out on last time, you can go there. We're trying to get some content of our own going on that too, like not just these podcasts, hopefully. But for right now, it's kind of what we're doing. It's our step into the content world. But yeah, I mean, thanks so much, Che, for coming on. I don't know if you got the link to that.
There we go.
Potatoes.
Yeah, it took me a bit.
Yeah.
It is currently pretty
Hey.
hard to find, unfortunately, but
Yeah,
Oh,
we,
you know,
we
I'm-
need a.
You need
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
plug, is what you're saying, right? You need a signal boost.
yeah, that'd be pretty nice.
Ooh, yeah. If you got us on that, I mean, we'll take what we
Yeah.
can get.
For sure. I
Um,
didn't even know you guys had a channel for the podcast.
Yeah.
yeah.
All our VODs are
Yeah.
gonna go up here, and as soon as my lazy butt decides to split the VOD, then we'll have the individual interviews on there as well.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
idea. Yeah. Some highlights.
Yeah,
There
something
we
a
go.
little bit more digestible than like a huge 2.5 hour
VOD.
video.
Yeah, I believe right now we have that first VOD up there, but it is timestamped if you are looking for, a certain topic. But yeah, I mean, thanks so much for coming on, Che. We appreciate what you and Project M Nexus do for the community. And with that, I think we're gonna go cut to a short break, unless you got something, Robert.
Any final plugs, Che?
Final plug is that we have tutorials coming out soon, very soon. That is all I will say on that.
That is exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
All
All right.
right.
Well, we'll catch you guys in about a couple minutes here. It's gonna just be me and Robert, and we're gonna talk a bit about, reflecting on the quarantine and kind of how it went and going into LAN in the future. So stay tuned.
We'll be
Peace out, y'all.
back.
Okay.
And we're back.
Yeah, so great discussion so far in the podcast. I really enjoyed having both our guests on that we had tonight. Um, but yeah, what are your thoughts so far, Robert? What we talked about tonight.
Well, we learned quite a bit about doubles. Um, Definitely, I don't think that I looked at the game, at least doubles, in the same way that Stang0 did until he started to bring up
Dissect it.
his many points. Yeah. Um, so I think I learned quite a bit, and it's gonna be a VOD that I think I'll go back to once we can play some serious double sets, just to like try and mix it all together and come up with a cohesive doubles plan for probably you and I.
No, yeah, I mean, Stango, like like Che saying in the chat, he really did open the third eye.
Yeah.
He had a lot of knowledge on the subject and was clearly very passionate about the subject. And gave a lot of good information. I mean, if you missed out on the first part of this podcast, I would recommend kind of going back or maybe watching the YouTube video once it's out and seeing that double segment, especially the kind of 5 points of advice he gave at the end, really helped us view the game in a different way, and he was so in depth about it.
Yeah. I was surprised he had it so like just ready.
Well thought out. Yeah.
Like, these are my 5 points. I already got them.
Yeah.
It's pretty good stuff.
No, yeah. And then, going into the discussion with Che, I mean, obviously we're doing a bit of our part with this podcast, but there's obviously more that everyone could be doing for the community to create content. Hopefully we get some more guides out there in the future and more ways for players to, when I know for me when I'm bored right now, I go to watch like Mango stream highlights on his channel or something. So seeing other streamers for PM their highlights or just I can look up PM VODs or whatever and PM content and it'll really help out just for when I'm casually browsing the YouTube.
Yeah. I'm gonna try my best to add to this content creation, since I already have this resource of like the Twitch stream and stuff. At the very least, I'm gonna start uploading my VODs. I'm not sure who just followed, but I appreciate the follow. And hopefully, maybe I'll try and get some sort of highlights thing, like what Lordy's doing right now. He does like a monthly highlight.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, all that stuff is pretty good. In general, I guess we can wrap up our podcast really with the discussion, kind of how we think quarantines went for, I guess, our perspective. Obviously, like we've seen it more from the West Coast side than the East Coast side. So
Yeah.
those of you who are West Coast may be able to
Relate.
tag along more. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, really, I think the big kind of starting point I feel was the release of 2.0. Like we had a few tournaments I think right before 2.0 dropped, but that was kind of the big starting point for, kind of a big surge of people coming into the scene.
Yeah, I mean there was probably a good amount of reasons for that. One being like it was the newest big version of P+, I suppose, that made a good amount of changes. They added Knuckles, they added I think this one they added like all the other stage alts and
all the
character
changes.
alts. A lot of changes. Plus, since I guess the release just like got to a lot of Melee players, they started playing it on stream. And as soon as you get bigger players like that playing, it just makes it they open it up for other people to see who may not have seen it otherwise. Some Leffen fanboy was probably like, "Oh dang, PM is cool."
Yeah, and I mean, going from there, I mean, we decided to host NFL on the West Coast, which was my idea. Robert also helped out. We had help from, a lot of West Coast people who are involved with the scene, like Saber,
Saber,
Marshall.
Xavier.
Uh, and, we really wanted to push something where we got, as many top players together. Seeing kind of the first SCL for Melee is like, that was kind of what the first big event after Slippy dropped for Melee. So it kind of just drove like, we can still do this for PM, and
Obviously, we still
like
had our
Che,
limits, but
yeah, obviously we did, and I think we did put out good content, and we uh really got the scene hype. I mean, I know one of those streams got like over 200 viewers at some point.
yeah, it was pretty wild.
Having people like Lucky, Ivan, just a bunch
Sosa,
of people.
Sosa came back for a bit. Actually, was
Yeah, and
Sosa?
Toph commentated. Yeah,
Ryan
what were
was
you saying?
there.
Yeah, so both of the Sosa
I
brothers.
was thinking for a while, like, was Sosa actually there? But he was. He just played so little matches because he won.
Yeah. No, yeah. I seeing all these familiar faces come back and get excited about the game again, and obviously it did set up, as pointed out in the chat, for the introduction of AFL, which was inspired by NFL, but the East Coast version, where the East Coast guys got together and did their own little league, and it was great, kind of having like that transition from NFL to AFL, and as a spectator being able to watch both. Really fun stuff.
Yeah, I hope people really enjoyed that content because who really knows when something like that's gonna happen again, especially now with the potential of
returning.
LAN coming back.
Oh,
Unless
yeah.
we hosted somehow figured something out for like a PM sort of summit thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be the next big
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that stuff's really tough to put together. I mean, a lot of work went in on both the AFL and NFL teams, and we're all very appreciative of whoever did their part towards that stuff. Um,
Yeah, thank you,
other
Super, for
thing,
doing your part.
you too, brother. I mean, you helped out too. Yeah.
I was there a little
But
bit.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, we did see, as we kind of talked about a bit earlier, like the 5 days of Melee stuff also happened. They had their PM segments on there,
That
which
was
was
really
really cool
cool.
to
Yeah.
see. Um, the the match between Fuzz and Magi was like one of the most hyped matches we saw in the quarantine. Um,
I think I was at
and
work when all of that went down, so I didn't end up catching most of it, unfortunately.
no, yeah, I would recommend going and watching that set, but even just everything that kind of came out was really cool. And I'm really excited that we did have content coming out during the quarantine. Like people were doing their part, even when the game was like in a rough spot when Slippy dropped, because it kind of seemed like everyone was playing PM, but then it's like, oh, hey, let's go back to Slippy.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
we had our fair share of net play majors, if you will, as well.
Yeah, we had M2K's tournaments.
Yeah, we had the
Um,
Salty Spittoon.
mhm.
We had, I think, 2 of those happened on the West Coast.
Yeah, I think the first one was the biggest, and then the second one was like way smaller. But yeah, I think we did have 2, and then the East Coast had a couple as well. And that stuff was really exciting to watch. As far as like locals go, we've seen Wombat Wednesdays on the East Coast doing phenomenal. Really getting a lot of new players into the scene.
Yeah, 50 plus
And
entrants almost consistently is wild to me.
no, yeah, it's insane. And then also on the West Coast, we have Wednesday night fights, and we've seen
Sports
other
Smashdown
locals.
slowly picking up.
Yeah, and permanent waves as well. We've hosted a few Lon Lon Ranch tournaments as locals. weren't too hot, but we've shifted our views over to this podcast instead.
I will T-pose once we wrap up, Zoe. Don't let me forget.
Yeah. I'll remind you right before we end.
Okay, cool.
And then what else? I mean, really? I mean, I'm kind of impressed with how we did tournament wise. Like, there were some periods where it's like a dry zone. You can see like you can see that many entrants, especially on the West Coast in these events. But it seems like right now we're in a pretty good spot, especially transitioning back to LAN.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we see a little bit more locals pop up everywhere. I know we've seen, at least to my knowledge, 2, or I guess 3 announcements of different locals coming back. There's TriPoint coming back. I think it was Massachusetts, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Massachusetts.
And then Xavier announced
For SoCal.
the SoCal one, but he's having trouble finding a venue, so who knows how soon that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it'll be tough to tell, but yeah, I think we're in a good spot, and especially going back to LAN, we're all eager for that first major. I think everyone in the scene is going to be rolling out to that whenever it does happen.
Saber says that Xavier has a venue, but only after June 15th, which makes sense considering that's when I believe the state is supposed to open back up.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
Mostly normal. I gotta talk with the NorCal TOs and see what we got cooking for NorCal, because we gotta get something, man. I'm so tired of net play.
Everyone.
I just want to beat people up in person,
But yeah, I mean, it's been quite the ride, and I think we're kind of making it to the point, at least for California. June 15th is when they're saying things are starting to open up again.
Everybody go get vaccinated if you were able to. I understand, like, if you have genetic predispositions that let you not get vaccinated or something of the sorts, but if you can, please do.
Yes,
it's good for you, it's good for everyone else as well.
Yeah, we'll be able to get our locals back faster and our events back faster, so
and you can go to things without having to worry as much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to find my vaccination card. It's somewhere here.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm really excited to see not only the return of LAN, but also what it has to offer player-wise. I think a lot of players have been grinding in the quarantine despite having to do it on net play, and I think they do have things to show, improvements to show, going back into LAN, compared to those who may have been like, I'm gonna just sit it out during the quarantine,
Yeah, I'm hoping we see kind of, well, okay, there's like 2 big things I'm hoping to see once PM comes back. The first is plenty of melee players and plenty of new players coming into the scene. That's what I'm hoping for.
Robert just wants foxes to throw off stage. That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, the more noobs I can beat up in Ganon jank, I'm not gonna complain about it.
Yeah, I got my Bowser on point too.
Oh, get your Bowser out of here, man.
It's gonna be well suited for the melee players, I'll assure that.
Oh no, they're gonna hate both of us.
But yeah,
what
was the second thing you want to bring up?
The other thing I'm looking forward to is seeing if there is a shift in player ability and a shift in the meta once we are back at locals. Like, I want to see players who used to be like the top 10 drop down to like top 20 because they didn't grind at all, and some scrub from SoCal or NorCal has been grinding this entire time, and suddenly he or she or they is up there. Not that I'm thinking of anybody in particular, but
A bit of a illusion there. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to see how things shape up when we get back. It'll be interesting to see um how also we integrate with the rest of the Smash community. And I think, like Che was saying before he left, like a lot of people were talking during Save Melee and all that stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so hopefully we see a bit more of an integration where, people come together and we have, all the Smash games back at locals or back at majors, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the main thing I'd want to see is just being like closer to the Melee community, because our games are pretty similar. We kind of grab the same audience, um, and I think it's a lot more likely for us to be like kind of one with the Melee community as opposed to the Smash Ultimate community, because they're, I mean, they could be both, but I feel like Smash Ultimate is kind of just like on its own.
Yeah, well, I feel like people are, if you're open-minded in either community, like some people in Ultimate community do watch Melee. They're just like, this is too hard. Well, maybe PM is the thing for you, but like we said, we need those guides coming out so people have more, like more content to consume to get better at the game. Stuff like that. Some people are intimidated till they try it, so it'll be interesting to see. I definitely had a lot more success converting Ultimate players than I've had converting Melee players, but we'll see.
Yeah, I guess it kind of just depends on the person.
Yeah, and how open-minded and motivated they are.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see more auto L cancel stuff in the future, to bring in or keep those new players, because at least I'm of the belief that having auto L cancel on will not in any way hurt the community or the meta. It might change up a few things as to what like characters are better, like because people always bring up the classic high APM characters become busted on auto L cancel, but you still have to think.
Yeah,
it's
no,
not
it's not like
completely free.
the game. If one thing out of the million things you need to do to be good at this game becomes easier, it's not gonna make that big of a deal, I feel.
Where'd your camera go?
Oh, did it disappear?
Yeah, I don't know where you went. Let me see if I can fix this.
Well, it's showing up on my side, but
Yeah,
either way.
Oh, you're back. I didn't do anything, but you're back.
Okay, great. I am back. But yeah, wrapping up really, I mean, we've done a great job in quarantine so far, and I think we're all just looking forward to getting back to LAN, and hopefully in the next month or two we see more things come up, and the next time we do this podcast, maybe me or Robert will have attended a local by then and be able to talk about our experience and how, it may be different than before, or how it was nice or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, fingers crossed that we can that we can go to a local before our next podcast, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We will be seeing each other before the next podcast, that's for sure.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm actually going to be in NorCal this weekend, so I'll be visiting some of the guys up there.
We're gonna party.
But yeah, it'll be fun. And yeah, I mean, I look forward to seeing what our community has to offer going forward, and really hope that LAN brings back a lot of people into the community.
I think that about wraps up everything, right? We got any final questions from the chat here before we call it a night?
Yeah, anyone got something? We'll leave it open maybe for a minute or two, but then we'll probably just, if you guys don't got anything for us, we'll tap out.
I agree with what Saber is saying. Who's the best Ganon? I'm not going to answer that question. Okay, Saber answered that question, and he's probably right. Dude, Thomas's Ganon's cracked.
Yeah. And
It's
then,
nuts.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas in general is nuts.
Yeah.
And
His Ganon is not okay. Yeah, I gotta make him play Ganon and watch his gameplay a little bit more.
you just gotta copy him.
He just does certain things that I just don't think like should work, and then they work, and I'm like, how did you connect all these strings? How in the world did you possibly get 3 single hit nairs into fair? I don't understand. When I try it, it doesn't work.
Well, I mean, there's always something to learn. But yeah, I mean, any other questions people got for us? Otherwise, we're just gonna call it for tonight. Leave it open for a little longer.
I gotta say, I've had a lot of fun today.
Raid Marshy.
On my way.
That is. Is he still in the Iron Man with Nez? I have no clue. Well, you guys
I don't
can
know, but
find
he's gonna get a fat raid in a second.
out.
Oh, it says he's playing Valorant, but it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah. I mean, thanks everyone for tuning in today. We had a lot of good stuff. We're gonna be.
He got bodied. I read that as he got boiled.
But yeah, we had a lot of good discussion today, and we'll be up on our YouTube channel in the next couple of days here. And yeah, I'm excited to see where things go for the community going forward. Anything you got to say, Robert?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for locals, as you know, probably everyone is. But I'm also excited to see if we get any more content creation along the way. Not just from, you know, our current content creators, but maybe somebody new decides to pop up. But we'll see. I mean, Project Nexus got some tutorials coming up, as I said. Saber's always got his cool 3.6 history stuff going. We'll see. We got us slowly gathering like an audience here.
Yeah. Yeah, shout outs to everyone who's tuned in or has done their part in the content creation scene or is just in the community in general.
Yeah, for real.
Anyways, with that, I think we're gonna kind of wrap it up. Stay tuned. We'll be announcing when the next podcast is on Twitter.
Yeah, we can't promise that it'll be bi-weekly like we may have said before, but there will be another podcast. We will say that.
Yeah, at least once a month is kind of what we're aiming
Yeah,
at.
that's the goal right now.
Yeah. Whether it's more frequent or something like that than that, we can't promise. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time. You can follow our YouTube channel, and that's basically all I gotta say.
I think if you hit !LLR, you should still get a link to our YouTube. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, maybe.
And if you missed any parts of the VOD or you missed the last podcast, you will see it there. The last podcast is already up. This one will be up. I don't know about tonight, but within the
Probably
next
in
few
a week.
days.
Within the next week, yeah.
But yeah, thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys next time.
Take it easy, everyone. Peace.
Oh yeah, do the T-pose.
Oh yeah, the T-pose. Thank you.
Once Robert's done with that, then it's actually goodbye.
Alrighty. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
Yeah, and raid Marshall.
We will, yeah. Peace.
Great. Peace.